Okay, here's another one where you have to solve each equation by taking the square roots. If you notice, this is a constant term, an m squared term, and another constant term. So I can actually bring the two constant terms together. I'm trying to isolate that m squared term there. Here you owe 445, you owe 3. When they're both the same sign, you actually add them up. And you actually end up owing more. Okay, so then that's negative 445 and negative 3 should be negative 448. Almost done. I can take this 7 here and divide both sides by that negative 7. That's going to help me to get that 1 that I need to isolate that m squared. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 gives you 1. That's 1 m squared. On the other side, negative negative is positive. And again, let's do that division by hand here. 7 does not fit into the 4, so 4 cannot be divided by 7. But 44 can be divided by 7 6 times. 6 times 7 is 42. That leaves me with 2, so the next number will be 28. 28 divided by 7 is actually 4. And then negative negative is positive, so it'll be positive 64. Okay. Now I can take the square root of both sides and the reason for that is because the square here and the square roots cancel each other out. They're inverses of each other. They cancel each other out. They disappear. I mean, it's gone. The only thing left over is the m. And you have to consider the positive and the negative. The good thing is that it ended up with a 64. So hopefully you understand that 64 is a perfect square number. In other words, there are two numbers that multiply to give you 64, and they're the exact same number. If you notice here, 64 can be 8 times 8, and the answer would be 8. Now if I show you the long way, ends in 4, so you can divide it by 2, that gives you 32. That's a prime. Ends in 2, so you can divide it by 2, that gives you 16. Ends in 6, you can divide it by 2, gives you 8, and 2 times 4, close it, 2 times 2. So right here, some of you might have said, hey, this is a pair, another pair, and another pair. So that gives you the square root of 2 squared, the square root of 2 squared, and the square root of 2 squared. Because how many 2's that we had? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those cancel, those cancel, those cancel, leaving me 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. But hopefully you were able to see that 64 is the same thing as saying 8 times 8, and that in itself are your two pairs. I mean, your pair of 8s, your 2 8s. And why the positive and negative? Because negative 8 times negative 8 also gives you 64. Okay?